When you think about psilocybin, the way that it works in the brain is actually really, really cool. It helps with neurogenesis. It helps to make new neural pathways. If there are a bunch of dots on a piece of paper and you take a pencil and you've always connected the dots a certain way and you make some sort of pattern, like say you make like a zigzag or something like that, it basically helps you connect those dots in a brand new way that you've actually never ever before seen. So instead of creating like the zigzags connecting the different dots, maybe you're now like doing a circle, connecting them, or making a square, or like something brand new that you're like, whoa, I've never thought about this before. Well, welcome to Biohacking with Brittany, the podcast where science meets wisdom. I'm Brittany Ford, holistic nutritionist, biohacker, and mom. And for years, I struggled with gut issues, hormonal imbalances, and the exhaustion of motherhood while running a business. Biohacking and functional medicine became my way back to clarity, vitality, and trust in my body. And that's why I'm here, not just to share information, but to share the practices and perspectives that truly shifted my health and my life. Each week, I bring you science-backed tools, honest conversations, and rituals I live myself so you can return to your own body's wisdom and create longevity on your own terms. Because your body already knows this is just the space to remember. Welcome to the second episode of my 12 holiday rituals. I am so excited that you're listening. If you're watching, welcome as well. And this is the biggest holiday giveaway I have ever done. So it is worth over $5,500 US of prizes that you can win. All you have to do is click the link in my bio, on my show notes, in my website. It's kind of actually everywhere. And you enter once and you get entered into every single giveaway. So every day for 12 days, there's a different giveaway and you get entered into all of them. And they're all open until December 24th, which is so exciting. Winners will be chosen January 4th and it is open globally. So this is a big one. Anyone worldwide can enter and I am so stoked for that. For today's episode, we are talking about mushrooms. Oh my gosh, man. I used to talk about mushrooms a lot on my podcast and on socials, and I used to get so many questions about it. And I'm starting to dabble back into it now. And I'm going to get into my entire history with it, what worked, what didn't work, where I stand, and everything like that. But I do want to talk about Schedule 35. Schedule 35 has incredible medicinal mushrooms, and I mean, even functional too. These mushrooms are fantastic, and I love their blends. I'm going to talk about why in a second. But for today's giveaway, you can win over $300 worth of mushrooms in different forms. So they have a starter pack, which has 3 little sachets like this, if you're looking on camera, of mushrooms. And each one usually comes with, I think it's 5 caps. Yeah, that's right. So you would get 15 different doses of microdosing, plus 2 of their chocolate bars like this, and 2 bags of their tea, which I'm going to talk about. So this is a really, really unique prize, I will say, out of all of my prizes for 12 days. This is obviously the only mushrooms, the only medicinal mushrooms, functional mushrooms, everything like that. And I really hope the person who wins this is actually someone who has always wanted to try medicinal mushrooms and microdosing, but has never done it before, because this is such a beautiful way to try it. You are getting more than enough to try it for, I don't even know, 15 doses, like a few months even, because if you kind of like space out the chocolate and the tea, I think there's more than enough in there. And that's like such a nice amount of time to really see a difference in yourself and how you feel and like how it impacts you and everything like that. So this is one of my favorite giveaways, I will say, actually, for this entire 12 days. I'm not going to say that about all of them, but this one is like, so you can enter, like I said, on my website, in the show notes, on my link in bio. You can win, and I'm just so excited for the winner of today. You'll be notified in the beginning of January. All right, and if you do want to try Schedule 35, I have a discount code, BIOHACKINGBRITTANY. I will link it below, link it everywhere. Check it out, use it, try it. If you want to order mushrooms, especially for the new year, I feel like that's like a really nice way to kick off the year. And my discount code is for like all of their products, which is incredible. Okay, so before I kind of get into my own history with microdosing and like where I stand with it, I want to actually talk about women responding to mushrooms and even adaptogens and why I think this is important actually, like, and in terms of like women's health and longevity. So when we think about women's longevity, a lot of us think of like hormones, the menstrual cycle, even fertility and postpartum, maybe even mitochondria and the nervous system and the environmental load. But the reality is that many of us are living in a state of subtle chronic stress, even if we think we're fine. Most women I talk to, whether it's clients, podcast guests, or friends, are dealing with fatigue that doesn't go away, brain fog in certain parts of their cycle, emotional overwhelm, disrupted sleep, especially if you're struggling as a mom, low resilience, that's a really big one, and inflammation that kind of just like builds silently. And so mushrooms can really offer something unique here. They meet you where you're at. They don't force, they don't overstimulate, they gently help your body regulate. Women's bodies love slow, stable, steady support. And that's exactly why these Schedule 35 blends hit differently. So I want to talk about some of these blends that they have. And this is one of the main reasons why I love Schedule 35. So for example, I don't have it with me. It must be downstairs. The way Schedule 35 works is like they do have some of their psilocybin that is, if you're looking on camera, that is by themselves, right? So this is 100 milligrams of psilocybin in one cap. Now, this is really great if you just want like a clean microdose. You don't want anything else with it. You don't want anything added. You are somebody who is probably pretty experienced in microdosing and how it might feel. And like taking this for you is like maybe a daily habit. This is what I would recommend. And this is just their like basic Schedule 35 microdose you can see right here with nothing else added. Then, like I was just talking about, they have their blends. Now, this is actually what I love the most about them because I just think this is a very unique like way of doing psilocybin that I haven't really seen. For example, this is their Superior Tonic blend, and it has 50 milligrams of mushrooms, 125 milligrams of ginseng, 125 milligrams of bee pollen, and 125 milligrams of spirulina. So I love this. And like on the back, it says, we're all fighting our own battles, whether it's in love, stress, or money. And sometimes you got to pull yourself up from your bootstraps and get your by any means on. This dose is for the battles we believe in fighting for. After all, mama don't raise no sucker. Now, amazing. I love that little like pump up, description that they have on the back. They use organic ingredients and a long release formula as well, which is so cool. But my favorite blend from them, which is hilarious that I don't have it with me because I actually have been taking it, is called their Lover's Dose. And their Lover's Dose has 100 milligrams of mushrooms in it, maca, horny goatweed, and green tea extract. Now, you probably hear the name and you're like, Lover's Dose, what is that? It's exactly what you think it is. It is for love, intimacy. My husband and I have taken it before. I used Schedule 35 a while ago as well, and it's incredible. And I think for all the moms listening or the women who are in stressful jobs or running their own businesses, when it comes to intimacy, it can be hard to kind of like feel grounded and feel like I'm in my body and I'm open to what is happening in front of me versus I'm in my head. I'm thinking about my to-do list. I'm thinking about everything that I did today. I'm not really here. I'm not really present. I'm not really connected. I find personally that microdosing with psilocybin really helps to ground me and get me out of that mode. It also really helps with my creativity, but in terms of their like intimacy Lover's Dose blend, I do notice a difference. So it is perfect for like date night. Absolutely. If you're going on like a vacation with your partner, if you're going overnight somewhere, if you're going to a wedding even would be really great. Anything like that. We have taken it before we've gone in the sauna. So usually if I do take it or my husband takes it, we take it about an hour before. And so then, we'll take it earlier on. Obviously my kid is sleeping and then we'll go in the sauna. And by the time we're in the sauna sweating, we actually feel that like calm release vibe that tends to happen there. So that's why I think Schedule 35 for me personally stands out amongst other brands and other companies doing this is because their blends are something that I don't see a lot of and something that I really, really value. We There's also obviously other mushrooms and other adaptogens that are helpful as well for the nervous system. Like I kind of talked about, reishi, lion's mane, cordyceps, and all of these can really help. When we look at their chocolate, I just want to read off their ingredients in this chocolate as well. So this chocolate is so interesting. And if you're watching on camera, this is their chocolate frosted flakes, shroom-infused, and is 5 grams of mushrooms, which never tasted so good. It's a trippy throwback to Saturday mornings with an adult twist. Velvety milk chocolate meets the crunchy sweet goodness of frosted flakes, and with the right dose of shrooms, you might see giant talking tigers. I love that. I think that's hilarious. 5 grams is definitely more of a megadose. If you ate this whole thing, it is definitely not a microdose. A microdose tends to be something like what I was talking about earlier with like this one, which is 100 milligrams. A microdose is like a 10th to a 20th of, what you would take when you are hallucinating and seeing something. So when people eat mushrooms, like the actual mushrooms with the natural psilocybin in them, there can be anywhere from like 2 to 5 milligrams in a single mushroom, in my experience. And so we're taking like a fraction of that to microdose. And that's kind of the zone that I stay in, is the microdosing zone. But it's really cool to see that they do have more of a megadose or a stronger dose if you're looking for something like that. I do want to talk about their tea as well. So this is interesting. This is shroom-infused tea with real fruit. This is their mango dragon fruit one, which is great for energy and mood for the best day ever. It has premium natural ingredients in it, and it has 2 grams of the psilocybin in it. It is a magical blend of aromatic fruits and mushrooms. And for one tea bag, it's actually not that much, 200 milligrams of mushrooms per tea bag. So this could also be a microdose. Like 200 milligrams, I would still consider a microdose. And effects kick in about 30 to 60 minutes later. So there's really lots of options here, like depending on how much you want to dose with and where you want to start. So a typical ritual that you could do is like you could do the tea in the morning. If you're working from home, or even I know there's like quite this movement now of like moms during postpartum microdosing. And I think that's actually kind of beautiful, to be honest. So you could do something like the tea in the morning, or one of the caps that's like lower, like this one. And then in the afternoon, if you wanted something as well, you could do a bit of the chocolate. And then the evening, you could try something like maybe the lover's dose or something else. Or you could just do one per day. And I think like this is where the personal use really comes in. So for me, I started microdosing a few years ago, and I started with 100 milligrams a day, maybe 150 milligrams a day. And I was doing it forget the protocol that I was on. Maybe I was doing it 4 days a week, 4 days on, 3 days off, I think I was doing. And I did that for a long time. This was before I had a kid, before I was pregnant. And I think I did that for a few months, 4, 5, 6 months. And what's so interesting when you think about psilocybin, the way that it works in the brain is actually really, really cool. And the way that I typically describe it to people is like it helps with neurogenesis. Oh my gosh. I'm going like red in the face. It's been a long day. It helps to make new neural pathways. And so what that actually means is there's a couple of different ways you can describe it. So if there are a bunch of dots on a piece of paper, and say like you take a pencil and you've always connected the dots a certain way, and you make some sort of pattern, like say you make like a zigzag or something like that. When you take psilocybin or something like that, or even like ayahuasca, it basically helps you connect those dots in a brand new way that you've actually never, ever before seen. That is what is happening in the brain. So instead of going like this, like creating like the zigzags connecting the different dots, maybe you're now like doing a circle connecting them, or making a square, or like something brand new that you're like, whoa, I've never thought about this before. And that's the cool part. And that is how it applies to your life. It's not that like you suddenly, like, it's not that you have epiphanies or you don't have epiphanies, because you kind of do. But it just really helps you see things very differently over time. At least that's like what my experience was. So I started being able to connect the dots with like things that happened in my childhood, things that happened in my early to like how I was feeling in the present day with like certain things that I was dealing with in certain relationships. And I was able to connect the dots of like, oh, when that happened, I had this belief, which caused me to do this, which means that I thought this today, but actually this means this, this, this. And like, it just really over time helps all of those dots connect. The other way that I like to explain psilocybin, the way that it works in the brain, I think someone told me this on my podcast a long time ago. They said that when you take mushrooms again, or anything like ayahuasca, it's like you're on a hill and you're on a hill as a kid or whatever, and there's snow on the hill and you have a toboggan or a sled and you've been going down the same grooves over and over. And then you walk back up the hill and you go down the same trail over and over. And you're like going down the hill again and again and again. And then you take something like psilocybin and it's actually like this new fresh blanket of snow that covers all tracks, all sled marks, everything. And now you're standing at the top of the mountain and you get to create a brand new way to go down the mountain. You can no longer go down the grooves that were once there. So you get to go like a different way. Maybe you go more left. Maybe you like swerve. Maybe you go right, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. And that's just like another way of describing it is like, it's not that the reality around you necessarily changes. It's just that you look at things so completely differently and you have a brand new perspective. And that is such a beautiful, beautiful way to actually like think about how mushrooms work in the brain. So there's a lot to be said here in terms of like healing. I think it's great for mental health, anxiety, stress, and depression. And I think that's why we're seeing this movement of moms using it during postpartum. Now, as a mom who has or still is in postpartum, I mean, depends how long you consider postpartum, but I think that I can completely see why moms are turning to using psilocybin and microdosing during the day. I think it boosts your mood. It makes you feel better, more resilient, more grounded, more in your body, less stressed. And if that is your answer versus alcohol or another really hard drug or something really intense, then I'm by all means for it. I think there is a place in society where microdosing can really help alleviate postpartum anxiety and depression and stress that so many women deal with, including myself. I went through my own version of that. Yeah, I just think that's something really, really beautiful that we're starting to see more of. And for those moms who are listening to this and they're saying like, but I'm breastfeeding. Interestingly, I had a woman on my show earlier this year and I asked her the same question because we were talking about microdosing and her response really stuck with me. And she said that if anyone is going to introduce my baby to mushrooms or psilocybin, it's going to be me through my breast milk. And it's not like, she or I or anyone is saying to do a megadose or anything like that. We're talking about microdoses here. We're talking about like 100 milligrams, right? The smallest amount. So I think that there is a really, really important question here of at what point does mom's mental health matter so much that any risk to a child or to a baby is like, there is none. Do you understand what I mean? Because of course there is zero research on the impact in breast milk and the impact on infants. Because why would there be? Who would fund that type of research? And so again, I think that this is a personal choice. Obviously, every single company who sells these cannot say anything about this. They will not legally say anything. So I think it is up to every mom to make that decision. And my DMs are always open on Instagram. If this is you and you want to talk more in depth about this, I will definitely guide you through what I personally did during my time when I went through a difficult time postpartum, which was around 6 months postpartum was my peak. I am happy to share and help you through that. There are so many women who are struggling postpartum. And I think there's a lot worse things that women sadly turn to than microdosing with psilocybin. And I will always stand by that. So I am glad to see the tide shifting. And also, I just do want to mention, there are Facebook groups for moms who are doing this, if that is something that you want. If you're listening to this, send me a message. If you are looking for those Facebook groups, I can send them to you because there's just way more support in there and they can answer your questions and kind of keep you in a just like help you and hold you and make you feel seen and all of those things. So aside from like moms and postpartum, I think there's so much for women in general when we're talking about mushrooms. There are so many benefits. I felt way more stable. I felt like my mood was more stable and smoother. I didn't get like as overstimulated. Other women talk about like cravings going away, feeling more grounded in their body, sleeping better. And honestly, like this is intuitive longevity, which you guys know is like my thing now is on intuitive longevity. I don't know if I need to trademark that, but I probably should. Supporting your systems so your nervous system doesn't have to work over time. And that like microdosing is so important for that and can really help. So I want to close this off. I'm trying to think what else I can say for microdosing. I also, and like this type of thing as well, I think it does go hand in hand with talk therapy. I was in therapy when I was microdosing the most I ever was. I was in therapy, I think once a month. And I think there is something to be said about making these new neural pathways and then talking to your therapist about it so that you can actually like talk through the problems, the solutions, and how you're feeling and not just have it sit with you. So I like the recommendation of microdosing and therapy going hand in hand together because I just think there's way more benefits when you're doing that and you are like fully supported from both angles. And if you want to win this Schedule 35 starter pack, the teas, the chocolates, remember to enter my 12 holiday giveaways, my 12 holiday rituals giveaways, and the total prize pool is over $5,500 USD. And there will be 12 winners, one for each brand, and you could win today's, which was mushrooms. The giveaway ends December 24th. Winners are chosen in the first week of January. And that is today's ritual. It is using mushrooms in a soft, gentle way to really support your nervous system, which I think is so beautiful. If you want to try Schedule 35, you can use my discount code BIOHACKINGBRITTANY and stay tuned. Tomorrow's ritual is all about a completely different area of longevity. I cannot wait for you to dive in. It's another great brand that I'm working with. And I just I'm so excited about doing this and being able to support my community, give away a whole bunch of free stuff because you guys deserve it. And thank you for listening. I will catch you for another episode tomorrow. Thank you for listening to Biohacking with Brittany. I hope today's conversation gave you something to take into your own life, a practice, a perspective, or simply a reminder to trust your body. If you love this episode, please leave a review, share it with someone else who could benefit, and join me over on Instagram at BiohackingBrittany for more. And if you're ready to go deeper, you can explore my retreats, community, favorite tools, all linked for you in the show notes. Until next time, remember, your body already knows.